Hello, everybody. Dave Murray here again from the DiJulius Group. Welcome back to the Customer Service Revolution Speaker Spotlight interview series. This is where we interview the incredible lineup of speakers that we have for the 2018 Customer Service Revolution Conference, formerly known as the Secret Service Summit, which will be held this year in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio, October 24th and October 25th, 2018. Today, I am lucky enough to welcome our guest, Neen James. Now, many of you already know Neen from the summit last year, but let me tell you a little bit about Neen because it's a pretty cool story. So she has an extensive background in learning and development. She is a leadership expert. And those familiar with the conference, as I mentioned, remember her from 2007, where she delivered one of the highest rated breakout sessions that we've ever had. That was great. We had so much great feedback. Also, she is a Harley-Davidson enthusiast. She considers herself an unofficial champagne tester. And my favorite is that you are a really, really slow runner, which is a great stat about yourself. Neen, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
G'day, what a treat to be with you all. I am so excited about the summit. I can't stand it. It's going to be amazing.
Yes, this year is going to be fantastic. Now, I must share with everyone, the cool thing about you coming back in 2018 is you are going to be the MC.
I know. Can you imagine? We are going to have so much fun. The lineup that has been organized for this year is seriously one of the coolest. I feel like I get to go play with my friends as we stand in service of all the amazing people that are going to be in the room. And so this audience this year is in for a treat. And as your MC, I promise we're going to keep it really fun, really high energy, and we're going to have so many different little bits of value. You are not going to want to miss a moment.
That is for sure. You know, one of the things about the Customer Service Revolution Conference, every year John starts booking the speakers and he comes into a conference and says, you know, this year's going to be the best ever. And I think to myself, how could that be? How could that be? But he's right every single year.
Oh, Dave, it's incredible. It was my very first summit last year. And from the moment I hit the hotel all the way through till I finally checked out, I was astounded at not just the quality of the programming, not just the quality of the attendees, not just the quality of the resources that were provided, by the incredible experience from everything from registration to the food, to the trade stand, to the sponsors. I was really blown away. And I remember calling one of my speaker friends and saying, I've never been to an event like this where they literally take care of you from every single moment. So I think this year people are in for a treat. We have some surprises in store. We have some amazing speakers lined up. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited to have you back in Cleveland and be a part of it this year. It's going to be great.
I'm excited too.
Before we get too far into our session today, I want to say congratulations to you on Attention Pays. Here's my Kindle version.
Physical.
So your new book, Attention Pays, #1 on Amazon, which is quite an amazing feat. So congratulations.
Thank you. And, you know, I think that it's amazing, too, that this is such a hot topic right now, Dave. And when you think about the kind of businesses that we're all in, our customers crave attention. But the people we share our lives with also crave attention. It's not a bad thing, but we have to be able to think about not just giving attention, but how does attention pay? And we're going to explore that when we're together at the Customer Service Revolution.
Excellent. Now, I do have some questions for you about Attention Pays, but before we get there, I want to go back about 5 years or so to this book,
Folding Time,
which to me is it's more than a book. It's really an interactive manual on how to get more out of your time, how to be more effective. It's a really cool read, and I looked through it again. I read it a while ago, and I looked through it again. And I was thinking as I was just going through the pages, you must have helped a lot of people improve the way they operate over the years. And I'm just curious, any particular stories stand out to you?
I worked with a media company in Seattle. They were a very senior leadership team, exceptional at what they do, but they were having some challenges with achieving their sales target and retaining the top talent. And so what we did was I challenged all of the leadership team to start investing 15 minutes every single day. And in those 15 minutes, I asked them to identify their top 3 not negotiable activities. So before their head hit the pillow that night, what were the 3 things they must get done? What was astounding about this team was not only did they become the highest performing team in the whole company, they created an onboarding program which was 12 months long, which was truly world class. It got rolled out across the entire company because it was so good. They were able to not just attract that great talent, but retain it. And they still tell me today that as a result of investing that 15 minutes every day, and some of them are still doing it today, they believe it totally changed the way that they approach their day and their team. And I think there's power, Dave, in this whole idea of 15 minutes. And that's one of the teams I'm really proud of. But I have so many audience members from around the world tweet, send me Facebook messages, send me emails about, hey, this 15 minutes literally changed my day. And so that makes me really proud. That's one of the things I love about Folding Time. It's kind of the book designed for people who don't have time to read. And so to your point about it being a manual, there's even like a cheat sheet at the front of every chapter that says, hey, you don't have to read the chapter. Just read these bullet points and you'll have everything you need. Because I know that people want to get educated. They want to know more. They want to invest in themselves. But sometimes they don't have huge investments of time. So it's a book that's designed for people who don't have time to read.
Yeah, what a wonderful tool. I'm glad I picked it up again, and I'm going to use it. I read it once, as I said, and I'm going to dive back in and make some changes. You've inspired me.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. And I think, too, attention pays is really the evolution of folding time. Because when you think about it, productivity is something that is vital to all of us. But we can't manage time. We can manage our attention. And that's why I kind of shifted my message as things evolve in the conversation right now is about the fact that time's going to happen whether we like it or not, Dave. And all of the people coming to the customer service revolution, they understand that more than anyone. But right. Now it's about how do we manage our attention and invest it in the right people and the right things the right way.
That's a great segue. Let's switch our attention to Attention Pays that just came out. Now, in it, you have created what is referred to as an international attention model. Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate a little bit on what that is for those that haven't had a chance to pick the book up yet?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that it is intention that makes attention valuable. And we need to be a lot more intentional with the way we do things, which is really about the choices we make and the actions we take, being very deliberate and consciously choosing who gets our attention, what gets our attention, how we're going to pay attention in the world. And that's why we created this framework for intentional attention. And I think for people that are attending the customer service revolution, they're going to find that there's ideas in here that will help them transform the customer experience. And that's what it's really about, is truly looking how can we personally and professionally transform this experience for others in the way we pay attention and the way we get attention.
That's really great. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you about Attention Pays is you bring up the point that we very often get it wrong. How and why do we get it wrong?
I think, Dave, we're living in a time like never before. Everyone is so distracted by their devices, right? And think about how people are overwhelmed right now. They get so tired. There's constant emails, there's constant meetings, there's constant people coming into our store, into the practice, into the hospital, whatever it is that the role is that you play in your particular professional life. And then you add to that your personal life commitments as well, where we serve in our community, our church, our temple, our alumni, whatever it is that we do, we have all of these different roles we play in life. In the book, we talk about this concept, Dave, of the fact is we have this over trilogy, meaning we're overwhelmed, overstressed, and overtired. And I think that's contributing to why we're not paying attention. We think we are. We think we're paying attention, but I think what's happening is we're multitasking everything, we're crazy distracted, and we're not giving people the gift of our undivided attention. That's what I want to change.
Yeah, and that's really a great point that I think about myself when you mention that, and sometimes it's not that we're not paying attention, but are we making the right choices of where our attention is going?
Correct. And I want people to start assessing, are they paying attention to the right people, the right things, the right way? Right? Just because you're there and you occasionally like a Facebook post doesn't mean you're actually, paying attention to what's happening in that person's life. We need to be very intentional with how we use our attention, how we invest our attention. I believe in ROA, which is return on attention. And when we think about people who have the privilege of serving customers, we want to elevate that customer service experience. So how can we get a greater return on attention for the people who we serve so they leave feeling like they are the most important person that has ever come into our place of business or ever phoned us or ever emailed us? That's what I want people to do. That's why I'm so passionate about creating this attention revolution.
And such a great tie-in to our customer service revolution. They go hand in hand. So
absolutely.
Such a great tool for our audience. So another question I have for you, Neen, related to attention pays. One thing that I really like that you point out is your focus on driving profitability, productivity, and accountability. Mm-hmm. Because those things are so important in organizations. But I think what I realized working with several organizations, either as an employee or now as a consultant, profitability is the one that you can measure pretty simply. The others are really, really difficult. And a lot of times it's anecdotally, or we're giving people some direction and we're hoping for the best.
Right.
So how do you help companies improve, especially when it comes to productivity and accountability?
Let's take a look at things like the strategies of how people are organizing their day. For many of my leadership teams, I challenge them to ensure that they're working on the most profitable activities, that they're really looking at what they're measuring, that they have the team in place that has the talent to do that we have succession plans in place to ensure there's a consistency for the business. When I work with clients, often they hire me to come in and speak at maybe their all hands meeting to give them really practical strategies they can apply as soon as they leave my keynote. What I'm really keen in making sure too is that there is a very large element of accountability. Dave, at the Customer Service Revolution, I'm going to be challenging the audience to stay accountable for the things they're learning, not just what they're learning in the room, but what are they going to do when they go back to their workplace. And I believe that public accountability drives private accountability. So there's going to be opportunities throughout our time together to declare what they're going to do and share with others so we can hold each other accountable. As this customer service revolution has a ripple effect as we go back into the business, and then ultimately the clients we serve, and in my world, ultimately the world. And so for me, it's about introducing to my clients opportunities, strategies they can apply immediately. Let's keep it practical. It's one thing to grab someone's attention. It's a whole nother thing to keep it and have that customer keep coming back to us and keep staying top of mind. So some of the strategies we're going to talk about are going to allow people to improve their relationships. It's going to help us to make more money, but it's also going to help us get things done, because at the end of the day, we need to be able to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Here's how it's driving the business. And here's what my customers are saying about that.
And such important tools, because as you're speaking, I'm sitting here thinking how it goes hand in hand with the fact that it seems like every year there's some report out saying that we as adults, our attention spans are dropping even further.
Right.
So how do you compete to be in there and draw that attention?
There's this really horrible thing that's been floating around for years now, where people have been equating our attention span to a goldfish. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want my attention span like insinuating that I have the attention span of a goldfish. No, thank you. But I think what's happening is maybe not that our attention span is decreasing, but that our attention span is split. And I think what's happening, Dave, is that so many of us are multitasking, thinking that's like survival mechanism. We're trying so hard to get so much done. But the reality is our brain doesn't have the capacity to constantly split tasks. There's a really great book written by a friend of mine called Scott Halford, and he wrote a book called Activate Your Brain. He talks about how the brain operates, and every time we make a request of our brain, it's like opening a tab on the computer. And every time we ask it, there's another tab open. Well, the challenge is our brain craves completion, Dave. Every time that we like write something down and we cross it off and we know it's done, our little brain gives us like a little high five of dopamine. It says, woohoo, yay, Dave, you got something done. our brain craves completion. When you think about that in the context of attention, we are constantly moving, and every time we do, we're asking our brain to reset, refocus. There was a study done that said every time you switch tasks, it takes you an average of 23 minutes to get back into the task. Imagine how much time we're wasting on a daily basis, right? So it's not that our attention span is decreasing. We're smart people. It's just that we're splitting it. And I want people to start being hyper-focused on how they can be undivided in their attention for that customer, that team member, that partner that they share their life with. That's really important to me.
Excellent point. Great information. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to ask you about attention that I found really interesting is that you break it down into 3 types: personal, professional, and global. Can you give our audience a little overview of what each one entails?
Yeah, absolutely. Through all of the research I did, through the interviews I did, through all the time I spent with my CEOs of all the companies that I serve, I realized that we needed a framework for attention, and we pay attention in 3 ways. Personally, it's truly about who deserves your attention. This is about being thoughtful. It's about paying attention to the right people in our life. These are our immediate family, our friends, our clients, and our team. Professionally, it's about what deserves your attention. This is really about being productive. It's working on the right activities to achieve the objectives you have. The third way we pay attention is globally, which is about how you pay attention in the world. This is about being responsible and contributing in your community and on the greater planet. So it's personally, professionally, and globally. Who deserves your attention? What deserves your attention? And how are you paying attention in the world? This framework throughout the book gives you very specific strategies about how you can get better in all 3 areas.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know, one of the things that you mentioned already, Neen, was how we're really splitting our attention. Our attention is going in so many different directions compared to what it used to be. One of the topics you have that I am really interested in hearing more on personally, and I'm also interested in for my kids, quite honestly, as well, is when you talk about devices. And turning devices from distractions into powerful tools and into levers of getting things done. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like?
Absolutely. See, technology is not the enemy of our attention, Dave. We blame our devices. We are the enemy. We are the person who is choosing to pick up that device. We are the person who's choosing to reply to every text message, every notification. Very simply, I want to encourage people to eliminate the distractions that their devices give them. For example, turn off notifications, turn your phone to silent. I even actually have my cell phone in a cover, so I have to actually close it so I can't see what's going on. I've chosen that. I also want to encourage people to leverage opportunities. For example, there's a brilliant app called Freedom. Freedom is an app you can install on your computer and your device that blocks websites for you for periods of time. I use the Freedom app all the time. You can use technology to help you get work done. I'm sure people that are watching and people that are attending the Customer Service Revolution, they have their favorite apps, things that will allow them to get more productive. There are so many ways that you can use technology to help you get more done. But I also want people to consider that we need systems in place. I call this systemized thoughtfulness. And in the book, you may remember, we talk about this. I want to explore this more with everyone when we get together in Ohio. But one of the things we talk about is creating systems, because systems create freedom. For example, I have a system in place so that there are advocates for me in my business, people I reach out to every single month. And for people watching, it might be they have businesses they're targeting as potential clients. So have a reach out system. Maybe it's just a spreadsheet. Mine's not fancy, but it's a system that I have that says, hey, Dave's important to me. Every month I want to reach out to Dave. And it could be that I send you a TED Talk I'm watching, might be John's latest TED Talk that he just did, right? It could be a book that I'm reading. It might be one of the phenomenal books of the people that have come into the customer service revolution. We've got people like Christine Caston, Judson Leapley, Kendra Hall, Eric Chester, Mark Sanborn. They all have brilliant material. But what I do is with these advocates, every month, I send them something that says, hey, I'm thinking of you. A blog, an article, a book, a TED Talk, something that says you're important to me, but I've had it systemized. It's a calendar appointment. Every month I go there, I look at my spreadsheet, I go through, and then I send those people something. It might even be, Dave, that I'm out and about and I see something that reminds me of that particular person, so I'll pop it in the mail. One of my clients loves fly fishing, and I know that about him, so I bought him a subscription to Fly magazine. Every month, I pop onto his desk through this magazine that says, hey, I was thinking about you. A subscription is an easy way for systemized thoughtfulness to arrive on a client or an advocate's desk, and it's pretty much automatic. Once you pay for the subscription, it arrives. But what's lovely is my client thinks of me every month, and maybe he thinks of me when his waders in his little river throwing out that line. But what I want people to think about is when it comes to paying attention, we can get so creative. There's so many things we can do that don't have to cost a lot of money, but I believe we need systems for thoughtfulness.
I love it. What a great tip. Thank you for sharing that. I know that our audience, when you're up there emceeing and sharing some of the tidbits from this book, they're going to be writing feverishly because there's so many great tips that you share, so many great tips in this book.
We're going to have some fun, that's for sure.
Yes, we are. I have another question for you. And as a past attendee of the Customer Service Revolution conference yourself, you know that in our audience, we get a lot of business owners, a lot of team leaders, and part of what they're trying to learn is, how do I go back and inspire my team? How do I go back and get us working better as a team? Now, one of the things that you talk about is that you'll be sharing some tools that will help get teams aligned and then executing faster. Can you share a little bit, a couple of takeaways from that?
Absolutely. Let's just take maybe your team meeting as an example. You know, if you're having an 8:30 Monday morning meeting, people hate it. Just saying, okay? And the challenge is we do it because we think it's the right thing to do. But maybe an easy way to make your meeting even more efficient is ask the team, what do you want to cover? When do you want to have it? And how long do you want it to be? So let's think about what would be a great idea when you come back from the Customer Service Revolution, from the summit, then take back specific action points to teach the team. So one of the things I challenge all my clients to do is, can you halve your meetings? Meaning, can you cut your meeting in half? If you're used to having a 60-minute meeting, can you make it a 30-minute meeting? Have an agenda for that meeting, have a purpose, invite the right people, and then get creative in the way you facilitate that meeting. Instead of having teleconferences, could you have Zoom calls? Could you use video technology so you can see people? Have you noticed people don't check their email when they're on a Zoom call with you or when they're using a video as opposed to when we're just on the phone? So I want people to think about how can they come back to their business with really practical strategies. Meetings is one. We're going to talk to you about this really cool thing that I love sharing with audiences called the Powerful Positioning Matrix. This is a way that you can not just grab attention, you can keep it. And I'm going to pull someone on stage. I'm going to do it in front of everyone. It's going to be all very organic. Let's see what happens. But I'm going to share with you not only how this tool can help you, but how it will help you close more business. This tool has made a dramatic impact to my clients. They've seen their sales close go through the roof. Now, it's not that we ever close a sale. I think we open relationships. But many people have seen, as a result of using this particular tool, they feel more confident when they network, their business development increases, their client and customer satisfaction goes through the roof, and you feel better when you're giving someone your attention, but you're doing it in a way that's clever. I can't wait to share that tool with everyone.
Wow, that's going to be great. I'm going to enjoy seeing that live, and everything that you're going to be talking about. To have attention pays and you kind of spread out through the entire 2-day conference.
Watch out.
It's going to be amazing. It really is.
You are going to want to not be missing anything. So every time you think you need to go to the bathroom, every time you think you need to check your email, I challenge you, because we are going to make sure that we fill it with so much value. Your head is going to explode when you leave. But also, we're going to make sure you have accountability plans to take back into your workplace, to the point you made, Dave, to make sure that we have implementable solutions that you can share with your team. So if you haven't registered yet, I highly encourage you to get on that, because you do not want to miss this year's.
That's an excellent point. If you have not registered yet, there's the information now on your screen, customerservicerevolution.com. And again, This year, the Customer Service Revolution Conference, formerly known as the Secret Service Summit, will be on October 24th and 25th in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio, with our MC, Neen James. It's going to be so fantastic. Neen, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to talk to you.
What a privilege. I cannot wait. And let's all make sure we connect on social media in advance. Let's start all these conversations and connect early so you can get some little insights I'm going to share before we even get there. The learning starts before you get to Cleveland.
That's right. Thank you, Neen. Thanks again for your time. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. Let's connect on social media, as Neen said, and then we'll see you in Cleveland in October. Thanks, Neen.
See you there. My pleasure.
Bye.